for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I
for
hate
us.
these average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
I just want to live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and we've got a great lineup for you today. I think many of you may be taking some time off of work. Hope you're enjoying your Monday morning thus far. But you guys know we do this as a team. Got to bring in my teammate. What up, Big O?
Good morning, Trey Holiday. How are you?
Good, good. How are you this Monday morning?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Right on.
We're here working.
Made it.
As usual. Good morning. I want to welcome everybody right here to the Morning Update Show and remind you right now is the perfect opportunity for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people who you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Also want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. That's SoundCloud right there, and we've got the link in the comments. But you can also go to Google, Spotify, Apple, any of those places, and you can find the Morning Update Show. Actually, Trey Holiday, I was in the airport, and I listened to the Morning Update Show quite a few episodes the other day. Sounds pretty good.
Good quality, huh? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's like a nice flow and everything. It's It's all right.
Good. There we go.
You know, and actually we got maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. It's people listening all over the world to the morning update show, and so I'm always wondering. I'm gonna reach out to them. I'm wondering they just happen to stumble across it. Are they from Seattle and now living in like Finland, or you know what I'm saying, or it's something about Converge that has them listening to us in Bolivia and Australia. So that'll be interesting. Also want to remind everybody, a good way to support Black-owned independent media while looking good and showing your pride. I know pride's month's over with, but the pride remains. Is you can go to whereweconverge.com/shop. And actually, that inventory it was a special order. That inventory is dwindling. So if you haven't got yours yet, you definitely want to go get your shirt, because I don't think we're doing a reprint on that. And next up is actually No Excuses.
Yeah.
And so, all the No Excuses gears over there, we just haven't pushed it out yet. So limited edition Pride shirts, you want to make sure and hop on that. And one or two other things here. No, I'm not going to use no teleprompter. They keep telling me that you want to use the teleprompter. Yeah. We got them here. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Yes, of course, always mention this, and we'll put the link in there today. The vaccine is available, and it's free across King County. So, if you are in need of a vaccine, and often most places you go, you get the choice of all three. That's Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, however you get down. You know what I'm saying? You can max out. But it is free and available across King County. There's a link there in the comments. Rainier Beach, Build the Block. This meeting this Thursday at 8 p.m. We were out at Rainier Beach last week. We got a link going there in the comments so you can sign up to be a part of this workforce inclusion and student engagement. That's this Thursday out there at around Rainier Beach, and get that information. That was a real informational session we had out there at RB, huh?
It really was. And I think, too, that, when we're talking about these development projects coming in our communities, we really do, folks have to be really intentional about including the community and about providing opportunities for our Black contractors. So I love that they're holding these engagement sessions. Y'all, please join. If you got people that could benefit from that information, make sure you share it with them.
Right. This is a $160 million development that's happening down there at Rainier Beach. And I can say this, they're being intentional about wanting to get people involved in the process. The link is there in the comments. That is this Thursday for that. Waterfront Block Party. So this Saturday, we're actually going to be broadcasting live. We're broadcasting live on Saturday and Friday from the Waterfront. But a Waterfront Block Party this Saturday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. down at Pier 62. And that's actually going to be hosted on Saturday by Besa and G Press. They're hosting the block party there from 4 to 7 on Saturday. But Friday, me and you were down there at the Waterfront at Pier 62 as the morning update show goes back on the road. This time, just a few blocks down the street.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for it because I know friends at the Waterfront, they've been doing a lot to make sure the space stays activated. A lot of folks have been kind of staying clear of it with all the construction happening. So I'm really glad that we'll be there this Friday.
Yeah, no, good stuff. One other quick note here. Want to give a big shout out to Dylan and to the staff out there at Duke's at Green Lake. Me and Trey Holiday, we stopped by there last night after Summer Taylor's Vigil. And, they were actually closing. They were getting ready to close. They still seated us, and it was outstanding service. So a big shout out to the guys out there at Duke's at Green Lake.
It's really sweet to give Dylan a shout out. I mean, there we were just doing our normal thing. And at the end of the day, as Dylan was like, look, I follow Converge. I think you guys are dope. So really shout out to you, Dylan, for all the love you showed us last night. And shout out to Dukes, man. It was a great meal.
Yeah, no, good stuff. So we got a few headlines here today. And we want to jump into, we put a segment together from the Candlelight Vigil last night. It was real emotional. And then also today is the last day for MOHAI for Stand Up Seattle, and so we'll talk about that. But one issue here that we continue to beat the drum on, irregardless, is the issue here of gun violence in the city. Saw this clip originally aired on July 3rd on King 5, and this talks about progress pushers and their work on gun violence disruption.
We're here at Alki. The event's on.
On a picturesque day with the serenity of Alki playing the setting, They came together with a message.
You lost 4 homies this year. We got about 5, 6 organizations that came together to actually address what's going on in community and to simply have a good time.
During the day, it's a scene for families and fun, but increasingly the nighttime is something else. Just steps away, a growing memorial to the latest victim of gun violence. Aaron Knox says it's a symptom of a bigger problem, young people who feel disconnected.
I feel like a lot of kids don't feel like they have those resources, and that's why they're choosing violence. When we choose violence and when these kids choose violence, that's the loudest cry you're going to hear.
And I just want to talk to y'all for a couple of minutes.
Perhaps there's nobody here who has worked with more of those young people than Eugene Youngblood.
We just want them to know they got different options, right? And so you'd be surprised at how well people do when they believe that somebody else believes in them.
Youngblood was recently released after 30 years in prison. He was convicted as an accessory to murder and dedicated many years to mentoring young people.
Fresh doing the work, man.
And believes these groups need more support.
I would sit here today and tell you that I didn't change, that I just healed. And part of my healing came from I realized that people cared about me.
I think it boils down to role models. I think it boils down to individuals from community who's empowering them. And so what's your message today, man?
Throughout the week, they'll continue to do their work, mentoring youth, getting them into jobs and away from violence.
That's beautiful, man.
Hoping it will pay dividends in a peaceful future for this stretch of beach that doesn't need to be marred by any more violence. And once again, the beach will close at 10 o'clock tonight, and these groups say it's kind of a band-aid to the situation. It may prevent some more violence, but it really does not go to address the long-term issues that led up to it. In Seattle, Amy Marino, King 5 News.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about here. We need these kind of solutions. And I just love that Youngblood was out there, honestly, because what so many of these youth really experience is, you know, hey, I need to see somebody who lived it just like I'm living through it. You know, I'm losing my friends. I feel like I don't have a sense of resources that are specific to me. And to be able to have somebody who really lived through it, to be able to share their history, their story with these young people and be a mentor, is just powerful. Oh, it really is, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, you know, we want to continue to be able to amplify the work of people that are out there trying to disrupt gun violence in our city. And that's why I saw this clip here on King 5 from a few days ago. And, you know, we want to be able to uplift the work of Progress Pushers, other groups that are out there. And we need to remember that, like I said, government is not coming to save us. It really takes people rooted in the community. I can't believe I said that.
You did.
That's your tag word there. Huh? That's your phrase. Rooted in community. Yeah. Resilient. That's your whole role, right? But, like, man, we have to save ourselves. And, you know, groups and individuals that can make connections with young people and show them something different. Like I said, one of the most powerful things that I saw was Willard Jimerson when he, on Good Game Alert, the guy he interviewed, Willard asked him and said, man, what advice would you give yourself, your 12-year-old self? Because dude said he got into gangs when he was 12 years old. He said, I would tell my 12-year-old self, give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance. There's so much out there beyond what you see right now. Just give yourself a chance. So want to continue to uplift and encourage. And I was on Facebook, and I thought that this was real interesting here. Alicia Dasa had posted something on her Facebook page, and you guys might remember that name, Alicia Dasa. That was her son, Connor Dasa Holland, that was shot in front of their home on Mother's Day 1 year ago. And I'll start reading some of this here, and then we'll put it on screen. This was a post from Alicia Dasa's page. Every year, I read post after post of people complaining about fireworks in our neighborhood. It's always the same complaint. My dogs, I have to work, people have PTSD, it's not even the fourth yet, and so on. Go ahead, put this up. I read these posts, I think, I wish there was this much outrage and conversation about the gunfire in our neighborhood, this much outrage about the constant loss of life. I have the same complaints. Our dogs miss our son. There are days when we cannot work. The PTSD from seeing what we saw and heard is real, and I wish that it was only on the 4th. and it just tell you, like, you know, a contrast of there, you know, and we talk about it. There's a lot of phone calls and everything around the 4th. And I mean, it was crazy hearing some of them fireworks yesterday. We were together, and I was just really jumpy. But where's the outrage of these gunshots in these neighborhoods, especially right over there? Of course, Connor was killed right in front of their house. Some months later, 5-6 months later, 70 gunshots not too far from there, Emerson Elementary School. And I just thought that was an interesting contrast and comparison there, Alicia Dasa.
You know what? And to be honest, I'm so glad that she, you know, really took some time to share those thoughts and to share her lived experience in contrast to the fireworks, because it goes back to what, you know, Councilmember Gramai Zahalai was really pushing for, is to understand this gun violence as a public health crisis. When everybody starts to speak out against it, whether they are personally affected by it, whether they are living in the neighborhoods where this gun violence takes place, at the end of the day, it really requires all of us to step up to the plate here to really put the spotlight where it needs to be. And that is disrupting and ending this trend of gun violence, of young people picking up a gun because that is what they feel is their only option, or maybe, you know, it's related to, you know, gang initiation. Who knows? You know, it could be a multitude of things. These retaliation shootings, these, you know, misfirings and hitting the wrong people. I mean, we're just seeing so many different varieties of why these guns are affecting our community like this. And I agree wholeheartedly that where is the outcry? You know, where is the enragement around people losing their lives, literally young people losing their lives, people losing family members? It goes beyond, man. And so shout out to her for being able to make this comparison right now. You know, when we think about this, it's everlasting for these families. They don't get to only, you know, think about this at the anniversary of losing a loved one. That isn't what, you know, brings them the issues that they have to deal with. It's daily. It's daily. And I'm glad that she spotlighted that.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll continue to say his name, Connor Dasa Holland. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, the morning update show returns, and we're taking a look back at Summer Taylor's Vigil.
Hey, everybody. We all know that COVID-19 has had a major impact on everything this year, even energy bills. Puget Sound Energy understands the ongoing struggle that's facing its customers. And this is why they're offering a COVID bill assistance program of up to $2,500 per qualified customer. If you or anyone you know are currently behind on energy bills, please contact PSC today to discuss all of the assistance options available. Visit psc.com/COVID to learn more.
Hey guys, it's Besa Gordon from Converge Media. You can catch me on my show Rewind with Besa, which airs every other Saturday at 2 p.m. anywhere you watch Converge Media. Now, I know a lot of us still have questions about the COVID-19 vaccine. However, here are a couple things you don't have to question. Everyone 12 years and older in Washington State are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. It's free, and you don't even need insurance or citizenship status to get vaccinated. If you still have questions, and I know you probably do, you can visit kingcounty.gov/COVID for additional information. You can also call the King County COVID-19 call center at 206-477-3977 to get COVID-19 and the vaccination questions answered, get translation services if needed, set up an in-home vaccination appointment for yourself or someone you know may not be comfortable at a vaccination site due to a disability, anxiety, or other reasons. Look, with summer being here, now is the time to get all your COVID-19 vaccination questions answered so we can all get out the house and live our best lives again.
All right, welcome back to the morning update show. I want to remind everybody, so it's like we're getting ready to get into this segment here about Summer Taylor, Seattle protests, some everything else. It's a good opportunity right here to tag and share the stream. I know a lot of people come into the morning update show for specific topics, but if you know people, especially people who were impacted by the events 1 year ago, you know what I'm saying, this is a good opportunity to go ahead and tag and share the stream with them.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I was so affected yesterday, and I'm glad that we're able to pull this clip together. And really, beyond that we were able to be present, as we think about, and recognize and uplift Summer Taylor's family who was there, all of the people that were there that day on the freeway with Summer, and to hear some of their stories was just impactful.
Yeah, it was it's a lot, man. I remember being there 1 year ago, and I was down in Houston this weekend with Victoria with my daughter, and I just knew that I had to arrange the travel to make it back, to make sure, it's a holiday weekend, but to make sure to be back for that vigil. It was to see some of the people that I saw there yesterday I hadn't seen in maybe a year or something like that. And it was absolutely one of the most horrific things that I ever witnessed in my life. And I said it then, I say it now, I'm so glad that we weren't live streaming and things like that. And the impact that people live with around this whole thing is it's a lot. But yesterday was really more of a celebration of Summer Taylor's life, not how they died, but how they lived.
All year! Summer season! All year! Summer season! All year!
Today, we remember the passing of our beloved Summer Taylor, who perished 1 year ago while fighting for Black lives in Seattle, Washington. Summer, who used they, them pronouns, was born and raised in Seattle. They were known as a pastorous individual who was committed to racial justice, equity, LGBTQIA+, and human rights for all. As a lover of animals, they worked as a veterinary assistant and kennel supervisor at Urban Animal, and they were pursuing veterinary medicine as their life's work.
I was not planning to attend because I didn't think I'd be able to handle it. And I could just envision it. I could see people who I've connected with, Marilyn and TK. I just could feel the love that I was going to receive from you all. I could anticipate it, and it made me feel warm in my heart.
Here are some things I wish you could have seen in the last year. Anything Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion has dropped, namely WAP. Man, me and Summer would have fucking crushed it at WAP. The new flavors of White Claw. Literally drinking their favorite White Claw right now. I never drink mango just for them.
Life is always gonna knock us down, But it's the fact of understanding that when life knocks you down, when you get back up, are you gonna get back up and just stay there for it to knock you down again? Or are you gonna get back up and go further than what it knocked you down in the first place? So that when you get to that next knockdown, you understand that you can get back up and keep going.
Thank you, Summer, for your magic, inspiration, and heart of gold. We feel your presence and will love you forever. Rest in power, Summer Taylor.
It hurts to heal, but it's worth it. I promise, it's worth it. It hurts, but it's worth it. And I think it's time we, however you do it, whichever way you do it, don't matter. However you see fit, just start healing, Because that's the only way we're gonna keep progressing and keep getting stuff done here. We can be hurt and not do nothing, but we can heal and do a whole hell of a lot more here. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, we not done. We not done yet, you guys. And so let's heal and let's keep going. Because at the end of the day, if Summer was here, that's what they would want. Us to heal and keep going.
The Taylors and Williamses continue to be proud of the courage not only shown by Summer, but by all of you, the activists on the ground and in the media, the brave bodies and souls fighting every day for equity and justice in Seattle, America, and around the world. You are our heroes, and you are my heroes.
Wow. Summer's mom was so courageous out there. And honestly, so many of the people, that loved and knew Summer have been connecting with Summer through the protests. I mean, we heard so many different stories of people who knew Summer and Summer's energy. And, Summer was only 24 when they lost their lives and succumbed to those injuries. And I was so inspired by the energy that they all had and that they showcased in terms of Summer being such a leader in these spaces of protesting and of using their voice to really stand up against injustice and to continue to fight for equity and inclusion for all people. I mean, it was so touching, and to see that clip once again and just her mother's words echoed in my head for the rest of the day and even today. When we talk about why we continue to press, right? We may be leading the nation on certain things, but there is no reason for us to stop. We cannot get complacent. We have to continue. As TK said there, that's what Summer would have wanted. And I'm just moved, by everybody coming together, sharing their stories, and particularly by Summer's mother saying that those that are on the ground fighting for justice, using our voices, being activists and protesters, volunteers and organizations, building up these equitable solutions, that, those are Summer's family's heroes. It really struck me.
Yeah, real emotional day, yesterday, for sure. We definitely ain't started Converge or the Morning Update show to have all these tears on air. Like, I'm tired of crying on this show. And, these are these young people, these kids out there in their 20s. And, it's crazy because people in Seattle, I can't really say that the majority of the media was with whatever anyway, but people have let a lot of the media here twist and turn the Seattle protest into something that it wasn't. All of a sudden, Seattle protest, these guys were rioters and they did this. And, oh, man. We gonna stick around and tell the truth, though. And today, this week, last week, man, these are weeks that I'm glad that we're here. Last week was taking Black Pride. And we're able to kind of tell their story from their side. And yesterday, Summer's Vigil, man, it's just, I don't know. We just done gone through so much in the last year. And, we've never stopped. And, some things people seen on screen play out in real life, and so many other things behind the scenes. I'm just tired of crying on this show. And, man, I'm thankful for the opportunity, though, yesterday to go there and, in their own words, for TK, for Marilyn, one of Summer's friends forgot their name, and then of course Summer's mother, to be able, in their own words, to say what was going on. But I do know this is that, like, the memories and the trauma and the impact, man, it ain't gone nowhere. And maybe it's because we just ain't stopped over here. Jake Grabrot was out there. Man, we haven't stopped. In a year plus, we haven't stopped. All this stuff is still raw. It's still at the surface. I'm just tired of crying on this show.
Well, I think when we talk about why we do this work and how tough it really is, so much of it is because, as TK said there, it's necessary. It's like there's no way that Washington could be doing the work it's done through legislative session if people weren't out there, if people weren't really caring enough, like Summer did, like so many others have, to put themselves out there, to speak their truths. And that's why the tears end up coming here on set for us, because we live this. We do this. I literally leave the studio and I continue to plan with organizations on what it looks like for Black liberation. And it's not going to be given to us at the end of the day. When we talk about Black lives mattering and people being out there with their signs and their voices and their chants that they're doing in these protests and taking the streets and taking the freeway, as they did when Summer lost her life. It's so necessary. When we look at the history of Seattle standing up at the exhibit at MOHAI, and I took my son there, there is a real long history of people fighting for justice, fighting for equity, fighting to be seen, fighting to be heard. And so many of the people that were out there at the vigil yesterday, that's what inspired them. That's what Summer's mother was talking about. And we live this, man. We live this and we breathe this on a daily, outside of this set, outside of this studio. Omari, so many of us, we've just been on the ground doing stuff, man, and we see it and we feel it because it's really a part of who we are. And the tears are just the truth, because we have to experience it at a personal level. And it gets really deep for us, y'all. It really does. And again, I'm inspired by all of the folks out there. TK and I had a special moment when we filmed at the MOHAI, because I understand wholeheartedly what it means to have your ancestors looking down on your work and being proud of you using that voice and being proud of you standing up and fighting back against this oppressive system that has so many of us in its grasp. So I'm just proud that Summer was out there that day. And it's so unfortunate that Summer lost their life. But you know what? Oh, the tears are there because it is who we are. It's not just what we do.
Yeah, and I'll say that I think that there's revisionist history underway, not only here, but you see in Washington D.C. and some everywhere else. I would really encourage people, man, don't let the Seattle protests fall victim of revisionist history in real time. And these young people. Man, these young people so impacted by that crime against humanity, the murder of George Floyd, in slow motion and broadcast to the world. I mean, that brought these young people out there to the streets. And you know, a lot of them, their first time ever, they just knew that it's like, hey, man, we have to stand up for something here. And, you know, people have been able, this is what I'm saying, Seattle's supposed to be full of smart people. So smart people should be able to realize that, like, yeah, there's all kinds of different elements of this and that or whatever. But, you know, for some reason, people are able to sum the whole Seattle protest up into, oh, these guys must have been rioters. They were breaking windows and doing this and that. There definitely was an element of doing that. Very small, by the way, even according to the Seattle Police Department, very small. Tens of thousands of people came to the streets peacefully, time and time again, to make their voices heard. And it's their commitment, and it's the commitment of these young people and being out there every day, that, you know what I'm saying, was a big part of these mechanisms that have gone into play here and led to some change here on the state, county, and on the city level. So, I mean, don't let people sit there and rewrite history, especially a history that you lived yourself. You know, and that's never going to be all right. I would just say that, like, you know, for me personally, you know, it's crazy. People are like, oh, man, you know, you should go and cover this, and there's protests this and there. Man, we ain't go to cover police violence. In covering peaceful protests, we became victims of police violence. There's a difference. Man, I don't wish what happened out there and covering these protests and the things that we saw. And it wasn't even only police violence we saw. We saw black on black violence. We saw the cold-blooded murder of Lorenzo Anderson Jr. We saw this young man, Antonio Mays Jr. You know, I mean, we seen too much for some people who just wanted to go out there and just tell people what was going on. You know, we're out there unprepared. You know what I'm saying? No nothing, no gas. I was holding, look at the photo. I'm holding the phone with my hand. We had no expectation of all these things that we saw. And so, I'm not in a hurry to get back out there. I'm not in a hurry to, follow this protest in a different city and everything else. Not. That was never what we went out there for. We just went out there to report back to our community. And we stayed out there. And we still out there. Can't stay out there forever, though.
No, you really can't. I think one of the beautiful things about what we've seen transpire through all of this effort and energy and time and commitment, you know, is literally being able to take the movement, the momentum from it and create a full movement, creating real policy and legislation, taking it from activism and combining it with advocacy and really showcasing to people in Olympia what it really means to make effective, sustainable change. And so there's a real pathway that was sparked by everybody utilizing their voices. And when we talk about the work we still have to do, so much of it is going to need that same spark in order to see it through, because even though it may seem so right to so many of us, for some odd reason, it has to be fought for. It's not going to be given because it's what's right. So the ideas of people now being able to hold organizations accountable, to hold city council, King County Council, their state representatives, the senator, the governor, to hold these elected officials accountable, to hold leaders accountable, just thought leaders in the community accountable, to move these things forward because of all of that energy and because of people collectivizing their voices. That's really where we are right now, is that, you know, we need to be able to hold these city departments and state departments accountable to what it is that they are in the department to do. when we're talking about something like the Office of Civil Rights. Well, how are you going to be wielding this money that just came into your office, right? It's things like that. It's moving it forward. It's having that forward understanding so that we can really lay the foundation and lay the groundwork for all of the things that we need in terms of these equitable solutions, though. That's it.
Yeah, man, I hear you. You know, like I said, it's been out there for a long time, man. But what we're going to do right now is, we're over time as far as our programming, but today, this kind of leads right into kind of our overall discussion as well. Today's the last day of the Stand Up Seattle, the Democracy Project at MOHAI. Man, it's had a great run, an interesting run during COVID and some everything else. And so we played this a few times. Some of you guys have seen it before. We're going to play it one last time here today to give you some inspiration and motivation if you can make it over to MOHAI to check out the Stand Up Seattle, the Democracy Project exhibit.
America is a work in progress, and if we don't work, it won't progress. We need to understand, be very clear, that a democracy only works when we work. Everybody has a job to do. We're all stakeholders in this society. Our share is the vote, and we need to take our role as shareholders in this country very seriously.
I think this is an exhibit that really hits people at a personal level. What I learned from this exhibit, and I had to learn it, it wasn't intuitive to me, is that democracy is an unfinished project. Now is the time, I think, for us to remind ourselves that this is a project, we are a part of it, and its success ultimately depends on us. And it requires all of us to be a part of it. It has been, at best, a partial success, and it has a whole lot of failures that we can correct, that we must correct. And to me, the exhibit was revelatory of that.
My entire life, I've always believed that actions speak louder than words. We gotta walk the walk now. Now it's time to go walk, bro. You talked enough, now let's go walk it. What if the city stood up like this for itself? How much change could we affect here? How much change can we get done here if we come out and stand up like this for where we live?
Democracy is everything to me. I think that the United States has that open system. I mean, I've visited other countries. I've been outside of the United States, and I've seen it in other ways and forms. And still here in the United States, we have probably one of the best forms of democracy, though it's really hard for us sometimes, and particularly now.
Being in a museum and a repository of history, I think that it's important that people in Seattle realize that the Seattle protest is a chapter in a very long book here in Seattle and in the state of Washington for people standing up. And we're living this chapter right now. So we feel it. It's emotional. It's intense. You know, I'm still living with injuries from the protests.
You can tell me that you believe in me and that you're here for my life. Show me. Show me. What we did was we would march every single day to different parts of Seattle, go to council members' houses, talking to them, getting them to engage with the community that is most impacted by systematic racism.
Democracy is best when we challenge it. When it's under attack, it actually gets stronger. All the protests we saw this summer, all the protests that you read about in this exhibit that go back hundreds of years, they have made democracy live up to its promise. Imperfectly, of course, but there would be no progress without those challenges.
We can't let people forget what happened in Seattle. And I hope that it emboldens those out there younger than us to be prepared to write that next chapter. Because this story, this saga called democracy is continuously being written daily. And I hope that what our city went through last year will inspire people to pick up that pen and continue to write the next chapter of democracy in our city.
We can look at action from sitting down and writing a letter, talking to your neighbor, to being out on the street, you know, with the protest sign, pushing back. So there are all sorts of ways to join this democracy and this effort.
Being able to have that many dialogues with that many council members on the city level, on the county level, it was like, yo, you really can do this. We really can do this. Like, this is a real thing that can happen. Somebody has to stand up for what we're living in. We have the power to change this city, and all it takes is somebody inspiring somebody else to do it. And this is who I gotta be. Whether I like it or not, this is who I have to be in order to ensure that my brothers grow up and die from natural causes, not the police.
We, the people, the citizen stakeholders of this city, this county, and this state, we have to reclaim our power. We have to reclaim our authority. And our chapter is long, our book is long. Our history for standing up is long. Our history of getting beat down is long. But you know what? In the fight for democracy is very much like that phoenix that continues to rise from the ashes. And if there's anything that I want people to take away is study this museum, study these movements, study things that occurred, study advances, and then see what happened when people took their foot off the gas.
Wow, absolutely. The exhibit is just powerful. And if you have not gotten down there to MOHAI, today is the last day. I encourage you to go check it out. It is so comprehensive, talking about and going back to voter rights and what it means to be a part of so many of these progressions in terms of democracy and in terms of people utilizing their voices. It is perfectly named when it says Seattle Stand Up and the Democracy Project, it being about the fact that it really is a project. It's ever evolving, ever changing, and it really is made better because so many people pour into it. It was just phenomenal. And really, I'll say this, even more so, if you have young people in your lives, take them, because what my son walked away from seeing that exhibit was how important it is that he be a part of the process, not just allowing things to happen or transpire around him, but that he makes sure he uses his vote appropriately, that he's engaged as a citizen stakeholder, as Omari always says. And I really was so proud of the conversation we had afterwards where he shared with me and he said, Mom, I never thought about not voting. And that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we give a big thank you to everybody over there at MOHAI, the Museum of History and Industry. It was people know the story. It was a bit of a long road to they wanted us in the exhibit, but at the time it was just a lot. It's still a lot, to be honest with you. And so thankful for Stephanie Johnson Tolliver over at the Black Heritage Society of Washington State, because Stephanie was able to bridge the gap and really to come over to Converge and tell us the importance of being a part of this exhibit. So appreciate you, Stephanie. And then also, so a few things is that this video, it's up across our platforms, but we'll organize it a little bit better. We'll put some playlists up, so if some people look for MOHAI, they'll find that there. Then also, I saw here in the comments the video that we played earlier at Summer's Vigil. That's going to go up about 30 minutes after we get off air, and that'll go up across all of our platforms as well.
Yeah, I mean, people want to be engaged, man, and I just love the hunger for people to get educated right now. So much of the conversations I was having at the vigil yesterday was really about just that. This is such an informative time of people getting educated, man. So again, finding a way for them to be a part of these solutions. It was beautiful because I think we really are in such a very unique time right now of engagement, but also of just people being educated, man. So yeah, agreed. I love that we have these clips that will do just that, man.
All right. Mama always says we can't leave our audience in an affected state. And I know I'm affected at the moment.
Yeah.
I think maybe you are too. We're going to take a ZYD break right now. We got a nice story coming to us from Kenya, a place both of us used to hang out at. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Public Health, Seattle, King County, Zero Youth Detention, along with our partners from across the South King County region, are committed to reducing violence and creating the conditions needed for our neighborhoods to be safe and free of crime. Too often, the response to crime and violence has been a piecemeal approach with a program here and a program there. When family units collapse, schools fail to educate, the economy fails to produce jobs, and crime rises, we've looked to law enforcement and punitive measures to save us. Nothing could be more wrong or further from the truth. Law enforcement can't shoulder all the burden or take the rest of us off the hook. We are acknowledging the lived experiences of Black, brown, and indigenous communities. We are centering community as the experts who can effectively identify key issues related to systems, policies, and practices that impact children, families, and communities of color across this region. Those most impacted by the issues will help call out and identify the root causes, including structural and systemic factors. 150 residents will partner with King County to develop strategies, solutions, and an action plan that explicitly addresses system changes needed and eliminates barriers to access for Black, brown, and indigenous folks. These residents will also identify the criteria used to measure our collective success. Simply put, we need your help as we do the work needed to make King County the safest in this country. It will take specific commitments from all of us, community members, our young people, elders, and leaders from the sectors all across this region. Together, we will get this work done. Please click the link below and sign up for a work group. Or you can recommend a co-facilitator from community for each work group. We look forward to hearing your ideas, concerns, feedback, and solutions as we build a community where all our children can be happy, healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.
Welcome back to the Morning Update Show, and hopefully we're in an unaffected space now. We'll see. So before I go into this video, this clip I found on CBS this morning, I was on Twitter this morning, and I learned something very new. And you know, I'm a big baseball head, and almost everybody over here. This is the story of Larry Doby. He debuted for the Cleveland Indians on this day in 1947, becoming the first Black player in the American League. Doby suffered the same indignities as Jackie Robinson and the same struggles, but nobody really talks about him. And so I'll put that up one more time. People can see the Twitter address where you can find it at. So this is on Twitter at CLE Guardians. So basically, they want to change the name of the Indians to the Guardians. So at CLE Guardians. So found a little bit of Black history right there and baseball history, like in 1947.
Wow. I mean, really, I feel like there's so many amazing stories that don't get that same kind of recognition like a Jackie Robinson. And oftentimes, I think maybe it's because there were always these beacons in industries at the time where it's like you see this beacon really, and then it's like, man, you experience what others were experiencing through that beacon. So yeah, shout out to those guys for uplifting Larry Doby. Yeah.
All right, so I got one last segment here, and this comes from East Africa, from Kenya, from CBS this morning. I know you were out there for a while in Mombasa, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Going all throughout Kenya for sure.
Yeah, and I used to work right there in Nairobi. Man, those were good days.
Good days.
Anyways, there's a story out there in the Maasai, and it's crazy, man. You know, I actually did we did some projects with the Maasai, and also The Maasai, to be honest with you, like a herder for the Maasai, when they go all the way in school, they get like, PhD and all this and that, because like as a kid, like you're keeping track of all of these, the cattle and everything else. You don't have pen, you don't have paper, everything is by memory and by sight. And so when they actually get into school, into the Western school system, it takes off. But this story today is about how the lioness, how the women are making their presence felt there in the Masai Mara.
This morning, we have a story about a national park in East Africa and a group of young women turning traditional gender roles upside down. The park is home to a majestic variety of wildlife. It borders the home of the Maasai, one of the few African tribes that still maintain traditional customs. As Deborah Pata shows us, the women known as Team Lioness are helping the animals and their community.
It's early morning and everyone is already up. The men tend cattle. The women's job is to milk them. Everyone knows their place, but today the routine's been disrupted. Team Lioness has arrived, but these rangers are not working. They've come bearing gifts. Their colleague Ruth Siketa has just had a baby, and they have big plans for little newborn Beatrice.
One day she will be a ranger.
Team Lion Cub. 24-year-old Purity Lakara cuddles baby Beatrice. She knows if she had not become a ranger, motherhood was all her future would have held.
Women are only allowed to stay at home looking after their kids and giving birth. We are not meant to stay just at home, no. We were educated to come and change the world. So that's what we are doing right now.
Together with her 7 teammates, she was selected for Kenya's first all-female anti-poaching squad set up by the International Fund for Animal Welfare. But IFOR's East Africa Director James Isicher explains it was a tough pitch to the local elders.
This community, the Maasai community, is a very patriarchal community where the men have all the say. In fact, we faced quite an uphill task convincing the men to allow us to recruit Team Lioness.
These trailblazing women serve as the first line of defense against poaching.
They are training and coming back and matching the men or the male rangers boot for boot.
The work is physically grueling. They patrol the Maasai community land that surrounds the Amboseli National Park, often walking 12 miles a day.
Animal sighting, 12 grand gazelle.
But being female gives them an advantage. Maasai women might appear invisible to their men, but they hear everything that's going on in their community, including who is illegally killing animals for bushmeat. And they feel far more comfortable talking to Team Lioness than their male counterparts.
It's just a secret between you and the person who feeds you with the information. Then we put an ambush, we caught him without him knowing that we are aware of what he's or she's doing.
Through these tip-offs, they've reduced poaching and the retaliatory killing of animals by 80% since the unit was launched in 2019. And as for the men who mock them,
the respect that they used to give to men, they are now giving us that respect.
Nobody is laughing now.
Team Lioness has been so successful that there are plans to recruit more women from the Maasai community and to roll out similar anti-poaching squads elsewhere. For CBS This Morning, Deborah Pata, Risa, Kenya.
Deborah, thank you. We are not meant to stay home, but we are educated and come to change the world.
Wow. Change the world indeed, man. I love being able to showcase these amazing stories happening globally, and especially because you're right. Oh, I was up there with the Maasai, and it's just a beautiful thing when they're talking about elevating these amazing women in these roles. And I think what I really took away from that piece was how important it is that other women feel that sense of security as they talk to other women, because they know what's going on in their village. And it's just a reminder of the strength of Black women, man. That's Black woman magic all over that that piece. Thank you for ending us on such an amazing note, my friend.
Yeah, Black women know.
Yeah.
Especially when they get to talking to each other. Am I right, Curtis? Ike's like, well, I haven't come across that yet, but I'm open for it. All right, we're up against the hour, Trey Holiday. Any last words before we get out of here?
You know, guys, for me, I mean, this episode, even more so, really showcased how so many are using their voices to be a part of solutions, creating solutions. Even if you don't know what a solution looks like, it's important that you stand up and utilize your voice. Man, I encourage all of you to find a way to do so, even if you just start amongst your friend group by educating your peers, your colleagues, your family on things that you're learning. That's a way that you could be a part of the solution. So please find a way to be a part of the solution.
Yeah, you know, I think for me, I just want to continue to remind people to, like, man, hold fast to your sense of dignity, hold fast to your sense of understanding, man, to have a listening ear. It's too easy. It's just too easy to live in a polarizing space. You know, it's too easy to live in a space where you don't have any grace or understanding for anybody else. And we need to continuously work on that. And I'm glad that we're able to use this platform to highlight, you know, people's humanity, where a lot of times, you know, a larger media, they're not interested a lot of times in bringing that humanity to light. So we're out of here. Until tomorrow, as usual, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought. Facing the rising sun of a new day.